Today we're taking a look at a watch that has somewhat of a weird history. This is a SYNCHRON Poseidon, and essentially this is a Doxa. However, it's not made by Doxa, and it's from a company that once owned Doxa. However, that company is not currently owned by the people who owned it when it owned Doxa. So this is really kind of complicated when you think about it. This is sort of an homage to an original Doxa Army. If you guys are familiar with that watch, it's actually very, very rare. And there are only a few examples out there. So if you have one, obviously, these are worth a pretty good amount of money. This is an homage to that original Doxa. So let's flip the camera and take a look at a watch that's sort of an homage to the Doxa Army, the SYNCHRON Poseidon. So as I mentioned in the intro, this is a SYNCHRON Poseidon that we're going to take a look at today. This is in collaboration with a Swedish dive gear manufacturer, and they are called Poseidon. So that's why you have that extra logo on the dial of this watch. However, this specific watch, the design of this watch, is an homage to an original Doxa Army. And you can see this does not look exactly like a Doxa. You don't have that split bezel. This one gets a solid sapphire bezel. The original had a Bakelite bezel. This also has a little bit different of a dial. However, this is very true to the original Doxa Army, except obviously it's called SYNCHRON. Now the SYNCHRON name goes back and has association with Doxa's history. However, they owned Doxa for a short period of time. This company that we're talking about today didn't actually own Doxa. This is a revival of that original name. However, the person who currently owns SYNCHRON worked at Doxa. So a little bit complicated here. The ins and outs of this story are a little bit complicated. However, in some ways, this kind of has some relations to Doxa. Depending on how you want to draw the lines, it might be a little bit difficult following them, but you eventually get to a Doxa Army. This is definitely an homage, as I mentioned. This is a watch that you can't buy. This was a limited edition, and they have actually sold out of this watch. This is a watch that is on loan from BelmontWatches.com. BelmontWatches.com actually have one of these for sale currently, so check out their website. This is actually in really good condition. I believe this is brand new, unused, and definitely check out their website. Like I said, on the SYNCHRON website, these are all sold out. If you want one, Belmont Watches have these for sale, or at least have one for sale, so check out their website. I will put a link to their website down below. So there are a few very interesting things about this watch. Number one is obviously the case. It's very Doxa-like. You have sort of a cushion-shaped case. It's very minimalistic in finish, so you have just brushing on the case. There are no chamfered edges. However, everything feels really nice and smooth on here. You have a sapphire crystal and you have a sapphire bezel. The bezel is loomed. It's just the primary indices. And you can see the indices are a little bit weirdly shaped and sized on that bezel, and obviously that's a call out to that original Doxa, that Doxa Army. The dial here is a very cool dial, very similar to that original Doxa Army. You have a black, yellow, and white motif. So white primarily in the center of the dial, then you have black on the outer rim of the dial. The indices themselves are printed on. Those are in white with old radium, and then you have little black boxes that sort of protrude into that white area in the center of the dial. This is double signed, obviously, so it's taking up a lot of real estate. You have to really like the logos here, otherwise you're really not gonna like this watch. You have a date at the 3 o'clock position that is taking up part of the index. It actually blends in pretty well. It has a white background, so it sort of blends in with the dial pretty decently here. You have a yellow minutes hand, you have a black hour hand, and then you have a little bit of a square lollipop on that second hand, which is in yellow. So yellow, black, and white is really the theme on this. All of the loom is in old radium, so it gives you that creamy yellow look. You get a really nice gray isoframe strap on here. Isoframe are actually a company that are owned by SYNCHRON, so they actually own Isoframe, Tropic, Aquadive, and a few other brands. So they have a few brands under their belt. So obviously you're getting an isoframe strap on this watch. Isoframe are really nice. They're made in Italy. So this is a very, very thick strap. Many people will find that a little bit annoying. I personally do, but I think it works on this watch because this is a very tooly sort of dive watch. One other thing that's really interesting about this watch, it gets a Joux Perret movement inside, so you're getting the G100. Is essentially a Miyota movement. It's a Miyota 9000 series, which is obviously a very nice movement. However, they make these in Switzerland, so they're manufactured by Joux Perret, so they're a little bit of a higher end movement to compete with the likes of ETA and of course Sellita. So the G100, a somewhat higher end movement when compared to obviously the Miyota movements. Anyway guys, really good looking watch with decent lume as well. I wanted to mention that. So because of the style of this video, I did it a little bit differently than I normally do. I'm going to go through my 3 questions. Question number 1. Is it ugly? No, I don't think this watch is ugly. I actually think it's a really good looking watch. Obviously the original Doxa Army watch, really good looking, and this looks a lot like it, so obviously this is a good looking watch. Is it cool? Well, that's all dependent on whether or not you're okay with the story behind this watch. It could be a cool watch. Obviously, the original I definitely think is a cool watch. This is an homage to that watch, so it's really up to the person who's buying it. Are you okay with an homage? Are you okay with the story behind the watch, which is a little bit complicated, but in the end, I think it is a pretty cool watch. Last question, is it worth the money? I definitely think this watch is worth the money. You're getting 300 meters of water resistance. You're getting that Joux Perret movement and as a tungsten rotor. It's a definitely upgraded version of the 9000 series from Miyota, and the 9000 series is already a very good movement. You're getting lots of lume, you're getting a sapphire bezel, you're getting that ISO frame strap, which is a very expensive strap. If you look into them, they're in the hundreds of dollars. So very expensive components go into this watch. Obviously the design is an homage. So if you're okay with paying around $1,600 for an homage, that's completely up to you. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think down in the comments below. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of the original Doxa? What do you think of this homage? And the sort of complicated story of how they get back to making an homage of a Doxa and sort of justifying it. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next video.